Bonjour tout le monde. We are going to continue our discussion of les pronoms relatifs with ce qui and ce que. So you've probably noticed that they look very similar to qui and que that we just talked about, and they are used in a very similar manner. They just have a slightly different meaning. So here are a couple of examples. Je n'aime pas ce que mon frère fait maintenant. I don't like what my brother is doing right now. Tu pouvais voir ce qui était dans le sac. Could you see what was in the bag? So you can see that ce que, just like que, has a subject and a verb after it. Ce qui, just like qui, has just a conjugated verb after it. And we'll get into a little bit more of those details. So they both translate as what, but they are still used just like qui and que as in how they function in the sentence. So like qui, ce qui is the subject of the clause that it introduces, and it will always be followed by a conjugated verb. Elle ne sait pas ce qui se passe. She doesn't know what is happening. Je ne peux pas voir ce qui est dans le sac. I can't see what's in the bag. Tu sais ce qui te rend le plus stressé. You know what makes you the most stressed. So you can see for all of these examples, you've got ce qui followed by a conjugated verb. And that verb will usually be conjugated in the il, elle singulier form because that ce qui is referring to an unknown person or thing or idea. So the default is to do third person singular because we don't know exactly what it's referring to. And like que, ce que is the object of the clause that it introduces, which means it will always be followed by a subject and a conjugated verb. Elle ne sait pas ce que son copain fait ce week-end. She doesn't know what her friend is doing this weekend. Je comprends bien ce que tu dis. I understand what you're saying. On fera ce qu'il faut faire pour réussir. We will do what is necessary to succeed. So you can see ce que in all of these examples is followed by a subject and a conjugated verb, just like the que by itself was. So before we talk about the difference, here's a couple of examples. Try to decide whether or not you're going to use ce qui, ce que. Remember, ce qui will have just a conjugated verb after it, and ce que will have a subject and a verb after it. So pause the video, try to figure out what your answers are, and then unpause and check your answers. So here are our correct responses. The only one I want to point out specifically in this video is number 2. On ne comprend pas ce qui nous rend agacé. I'm guessing some of you put ce que because you saw a nous and then a verb, but you have to pay close attention because in this case, this verb is not conjugated for nous, which means nous is not the subject of it. So this is actually one of those little object pronouns. So it's ce qui because it's really going with this verb rend. You can tell that doesn't go with nous because the ending is not the same. If you have questions about the other ones, bring them with you to class tomorrow and we can talk about where your questions were. So what is the difference between ce qui, ce que, and just qui and que? The biggest difference is with qui and que, you will be able to see what that qui or que is referring to in the sentence someplace. So le livre que j'ai lu était très intéressant. The book that I read was very interesting. So what did I read? I read the book. You can literally draw an arrow from the que back to the noun that it's referring to. La femme qui porte la jupe noire est ma tante. The woman who is wearing the black skirt is my aunt. Who's wearing the black skirt? The woman. So you can literally draw an arrow from that qui or that que back to the noun that it's referring to. So if you can identify what that qui or que is referring to or replacing in the sentence, then you probably don't need the ce in front of it. Same thing, je ne peux pas croire ce que tu as fait. I can't believe what you did. Can you look back in this sentence and figure out what you did? No, we can't tell. So you need the ce, and it's also going to translate as what. Tu veux voir ce qui est derrière le rideau? Do you want to see what's behind the curtain? What is behind the curtain? Well, we can't tell from looking at the sentence. There's nothing to draw an arrow back to, so you need the ce to make it translate as what and make more sense in the sentence. All right, so here's 4 examples to try. Decide, is it going to be qui, que, ce qui, or ce que? You're going to look after the blank to determine whether it's qui or que. Is there a subject and a verb or just a verb? And then you're going to ask yourself, okay, can I draw an arrow back to what's in the front of the sentence to know what that's referring to? If you can't draw an arrow to what the qui or que is referring to, then you need the ce. So pause, try, check your answers. Voila. So if you have questions, bring them with you to class tomorrow and we will talk about the difference and do some more practice.